Okay.
Okay, looks like we're live. Let me just check, make sure everybody's in. Wyatt, you here?
I am here.
And Bill?
Yep.
Okay. Well, this is Jason. Thanks for joining our first MASKast Chat, which is going to be pretty informal. We're just going to hash out the latest rumors that have been going around the last, I don't know, couple weeks that we've been posting over at Agents of M.A.S.K, and Bill's been posting over at matttrakker.com. And we're just going to throw out some questions. Anybody that's listening or watching over at the Hangout, we'll throw out some questions to you as well, and we'll talk about your comments and stuff too as we chat it up. But how you guys doing tonight?
Not too bad. I'm my first Google Hangout here, so looking at the buttons. I didn't prep. I'm sorry. But yeah, so far so good.
Well, this is technically our first that we've, I guess, gone live with. We've
Yeah.
tried it in the past and on my old computer, and since I got the new laptop, I'm glad we're able to do this. But been quite a lot going on in the mask realm uh, last couple of weeks, and it kind of started back in was it December or November when Hasbro renewed the
It was,
trademark.
I believe it was December when we published that article.
Yeah, and we saw some buzz, I guess, going around when that happened, and I posted that article up there about kind of keeping calm. You know, it's more I saw it as more of as a just kind of a technical or CYA move by Hasbro to keep it. But I mean, it was good to see them that they were keeping it under their belt, so to speak, and not letting it lapse.
Well, every 4 years, I believe, they have to reapply for it. So it's something that, as you said, don't get too excited about it because it's just probably them,
Right. If
making
you
sure they're
remember,
they're.
I'm
No, go ahead.
sorry.
What? No, go ahead.
I'm sorry. If you remember on our MASKast, when we discussed that, Jason, that at least from my perspective, I was kind of curious if this wasn't a hint to see if something was going to kind of mature out of this. And it looks
Hmm.
like, at least the rumor mill is starting to fly. It looks like that might actually be coming to fruition right here.
And if you remember too, a little bit before that, I believe there was that episode of Transformers that had the Mask division in it, and at the time, with I think it was Transformers Prime.
Yeah.
Um, it's Hasbro run Transformers, I believe, right? So,
Yeah.
obviously you see that, and then you get that tie-in, and then we also had that Mask Cop comic book thing that came out a couple years ago from one of the conventions. I don't know if you guys remember that too, where it was like Mask was coming back as police force or something.
Yeah, that was, I think, several years ago, like 2011 or 2012 maybe.
Yeah,
At
and
I think it was at the New York Comic Con that they
okay,
released that one.
yeah. I mean, obviously it didn't take, but or maybe that is what we're going to get out of it with all this. Who knows? But it just kind of keeps randomly coming up, and it's hard to ignore, especially after the past 4 months. Things that we've been hearing and seeing and hoping for. So yeah, the trademark. I got a little more excited about it. I think you guys did, or at least Jason did, just because it's for having the website for so long and putting so much time into it. Anytime anything comes up mask related, I take it as serious because I've said it before. I love it. I love Mask, but it's not He-Man. It's not Thundercats. It's not Transformers. It's not GI Joe. It's an obscure '80s cartoon and toy line that has a huge, a really good following. But when everybody talks about the 80s, they go to, like I said, He-Man, Ghostbusters, and things like that. But when something comes up for Mask, it's hard to discredit it because why would somebody do that?
Right.
In my opinion, that's just me. Like, I I look at it as there is some substance to it, but is anything going to happen with it? That's the question. And if it doesn't, then I just keep hoping.
Well, I was excited. I wasn't trying to push everybody into the ground, or anything like that. I'm more of a level-headed person, especially when it comes to the rumor mill, And then, after, I think it was in the 1st of January when we got that tweet from it's like an unofficial Kenner Toys Twitter account, and claiming that they had a source, that there were some people at Hasbro putting some kind of creative team together for a M.A.S.K comeback. I can't remember exactly what the tweet said, but that really kind of raised my eyebrows when I saw that.
And I actually, just to interject, I'm sorry, there are two sources for that, through that Kenner toy. One gave one description and one gave another, but they both said that, that there was something in the works. So,
which was just enough fuel to spark all of our curiosities.
Yeah, correct. It's like I said before. Why say that? Like, it's sure Kenner Toys. It was M.A.S.K, and Hasbro has it now, but it's just why say that when there's nothing, when you don't, why bring it up when there's it's hopefully it's, like I said, hopefully it's true. So, but I have talked a little bit with the person running that Twitter account, and if they find anything else out, they're gonna let me know when they can, and if there's anything credible, things like that. So,
that's good.
Yeah, they're very, very nice. So hopefully you follow them, because they have a lot of good news on there too. Not just about M.A.S.K, but like I said, they're gonna share if they get anything more, more concrete. Hopefully we'll see something, soon with that. So
it is a fun account to follow. They post a lot of vintage stuff.
Yeah.
Pictures as well, which is always fun to see in your feed.
Plus, a lot of the coolest toys were Kenner toys back in our day. So
absolutely.
And they still are, but
I love, on a side note, I love all these what they call reaction figures that are coming out, and they're doing a lot more this year. But we've seen like Back to the Future and Goonies and
they were weird. It was
Terminator.
Weird.
Yeah,
as an action.
The presentation is awesome on those, with the card backs and
it looks like the old Star Wars ones.
Yeah, it does. And the figures have that same like 5-point articulation where they're just simple,
they just kind of, they move their arms and their legs and their head, and that's it. And I think they have a Kenner logo on the back of those cards, right?
I don't know if there's a Kenner logo, but I think the reaction.
It looks like the Kenner logo, right? Is that what it is?
Yeah,
okay, yeah. I couldn't remember exactly. I didn't get any of those yet, but I kind of want to get, Data and maybe Sloth, and maybe I'll go Doc Brown. So.
Well, what's even impressive? Not even Kenner and all these retro. We got a lot of hobbyists that are creative, and I just saw someone make a custom Thunderhawk, modern Thunderhawk.
Yeah.
They did admit that it's not a Thunderhawk. I didn't get a good look at the car. It looked like it might have been a Lamborghini or a Porsche kind of take instead of a Camaro. But it's still
there's a lot of that stuff popping up.
The Lego that we saw here this last year.
Yeah, there's a couple other things I saw too. One guy did. He made a laser command, was it Rat Fang, out of a firecracker. Like he'd made his own because it's really expensive, and he did a really good job of it. It looks like it's up on one of those pages there if you guys want to look at it. But I was kind of amazed. I thought it was Rat Fang. I believe that's the truck's name. I always get those two confused, but I thought it was. It was really well done, and there's a lot of creative things happening randomly that we're seeing, which is good to see.
Yeah, and I just posted a few days ago. Somebody took a recent Optimus Prime and made a Rhino out of it, customized.
I don't think I saw that one.
It was really cool the way they did that. They made some kind of Bruce Sato custom figure as well that was like that G.I. Joe 3 3/4 size to go with it. They took the time to have the little what did we call it, the fifth wheel buggy, Wyatt? That comes out the back.
This is what we called it. We called it a couple names while we were going through the MASKast, but even when we were brainstorming for our own script, we called it, I think, half a dozen names before we called it the fifth wheel buggy. That's what we called it.
It was I think they call it an all-terrain vehicle or something on the actual the actual toy box or whatever. But so yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of people that is starting to do those customs, and a guy over on DeviantArt there that I've been following that has been converting those real miniature figures into mask figures. Name slips my mind at the minute, but those are pretty cool.
That when you get a chance. Yeah, I haven't seen that.
I think those are. I did a story on those last year, and then I put up on Facebook maybe a couple weeks ago. He had just did a Brad Turner.
Okay.
Cool, but he shows like what figure it was to originally start and the changes he made to it and stuff. It's pretty cool. But anyway,
I want to try that, but I'm not going to be good at it, so I'll leave it to that. And what I want to say too is I want somebody to make a full size of the aircraft that transported everything. I want a full size one that'll fit Rhino. So whoever wants to make that for me, with all your engineering skills, please go ahead. So,
the mass transport plane.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Even if it's just the back part of it, doesn't have to fly. It doesn't have to have wings. Just give me a open canopy so they can come out of it somehow. Maybe that'll be.
What would you make it out of, though? I mean, a lot of those they start with something. Where do you start with something like that? I mean, I don't think that's that
an actual
huge.
Plane, I guess.
I don't think G.I. Joe ever made anything like that.
I don't know. I know I have there's a guy I trade with a lot, Kevin Mills. I'll ask him if there's anything that we can maybe do with that, but that'll be another day. So.
Well, soon after we had Kenner Toys, their Twitter account, announced that, then over at toyarc.com, they posted a report from the Nuremberg Toy Fair about somebody, I guess, heard something there about M.A.S.K toys coming back for 2015. What do you guys think about that? What would you like to see, I guess, this year if they do? Do you want to see the whole line reissued, or would you rather them do maybe a couple quote-unquote 30th anniversary toys?
I think it would be wise if they did something like what you were just mentioning, kind of a 30th anniversary release. But I don't think that they should give out the whole entire line. I mean, it would be nice. Don't get me wrong; it'd be great. But I think they should go with the heavy hitters that seem to be the mainstays, like Condor, Thunderhawk, Switchblade, Jackhammer, maybe a couple from Season 2 and Season 3 toys that we refer to them as. But I wouldn't go all out, especially, I guess, because it seems like they're still just touching and seeing if this is going to be something worthwhile for them, or if it's going to be, there's a ton of M.A.S.K fans out there that want this to happen, but will it end up doing a belly flop on them or not. We don't know what's going to happen in the reaction. So I guess as if I were Hasbro making this call, I think I would go with the heavy hitters to know that the merchandise is going to go. Because even back in the 90s, I know I'm spitting off a little bit, but uh, uh, Voltron came back as Voltron 3D, and they
Yes.
reissued plastic Voltron, and I don't know how many. I was really surprised. I should have bought them up like you do with your hobby there, Jason. But I found, I think, 4 or 5, maybe 6 plastic Voltron, units for sale in the clearance aisle for $5-10. When I don't know what the original issue was for issue price, but I'm sitting there going, man, I didn't even have a Voltron set. Heck, I'm going to get me one. Plastic. Of course, I found out why it's plastic. That thing didn't stay assembled like it should have. But nonetheless, I mean, it was a belly flop because Voltron was, we had the fan base behind it, but not enough new blood to keep it going. Therefore, they basically had to clearance all the merchandise out. So, like I said, I think Hasbro should take the heavy hitters, like I mentioned, Thunderhawk, Switchblade, and so on, and see what it does. To see if there's anything. Do the 30th anniversary, even put a sticker on it and call it the 30th anniversary. I just can't see a whole toy line.
Yeah.
What do you say, Bill?
Yeah. If you're Hasbro, what do you do?
Well, the 30th toy line option would obviously be the safest route. As Wyatt said, you go with, Thunderhawk, Switchblade, Condor. You just do maybe the first series in a reissue or something like that. You use the original box art. You put 30th anniversary on there, and I think it would do well. But they also have to think about a new generation of kids that are going to be, if it's just going to be a TV show too. Are they going to do the same thing they did before, where it was the television show was the 22-minute commercial for the toy line, and they were both driving each other, and like I said, if the 30th anniversary they want to do something with the original box art that Lance Anderson created, and put a 30th anniversary on there, charge it for X amount of dollars, I would buy every one of them. But that's me.
My mind that you'd buy every one of those.
And I don't, like you were saying, like with the Voltron, I don't think it would go into the clearance aisle, because the nostalgia factor of it's different. If you're packaging, if you use the same packaging and you're going 30th anniversary, and you have the Kenner, like the one that they're using for the other ones, that looks like the Kenner logo, I think it'll stick. And I think obviously, going out to maybe make a shark at some point that we never got, things like that to appease a lot of the collectors that try to make them custom. I mean, that's down the road, but if whatever their initial plan is, if it's going to be 30th anniversary, or if it's going to be, maybe they issue out a couple more G.I. Joe sized mass figures. You go Miles Mayhem and Dusty Hayes and Brad Turner and a couple, Vanessa, and you do the original cast. Well, there's not, if they're just doing the figures at first, it's not. I don't think that's a huge risk. If you're doing full vehicles for those G.I. Joe size figures, or I think that becomes a risk for them. So if they're going to be doing the G.I. Joe size, they're probably only going to stick with doing a figure for the time being, because I don't really know how G.I. Joe produces their what their lines are. I know they still have helicopters and jets and everything, but I just don't know the quality of them. So would they be cheap plastic and not be worth it, maybe, but you just do a set of 7 figures go with the Matt Trakker one that came out a couple years ago,
Yeah.
or you go the 30th anniversary route, or you go 6-inch scale and you do the figures that way, which I would actually prefer over the GI Joe scale.
Mm-hmm.
You get a 6-inch scale of the figures. You do the key ones. You use some of the original backing. Not the Argentina one, but you use some of the card work. You don't, maybe you do the 6-inch scale ones with 2 figures in it, like you had before. You get Matt Trakker and Miles Mayhem. You had Buddy Hawks and I forget who it was. Maybe Alex Sector from. I think that was a set. You go that route too. But I think as long as they stay away from the vehicles initially, I think they could really do something with this. I really do.
I agree. I mean, I really don't think they're going to put a whole lot of money behind, trying to release a whole series. Trying to
unless they have a movie or something else to go with it, or a cartoon.
Right. But even so, I don't see them. I don't know how many agents were in the first season on each side. Maybe what a dozen on the Mask side, and maybe half a dozen on the Venom side.
Well, if you go early season, not counting Jacques came in and Ace Riker.
Right.
I think it was 7-4 or something like that.
Yeah, I mean that's good. I mean you start there. I think you do the GI Joe size, and here's what kind of bothers me though. Why has it taken to the 30th anniversary to do this? Are they still, and even that figure, the Specialist Trakker figure, it's got a faux M.A.S.K logo up there. So it's almost like they're not even sure if they have the rights to put M.A.S.K on the card back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of, I don't know. That's just like a red flag to me that we've got something going on, but we're not sure if we have it all. And, maybe it took this amount of time, and maybe there was some legal stuff behind the scenes they wanted to, cover their butts when they go live, when put M.A.S.K on these, card backs.
Sure.
But at the same time, all I really want is them to spread it around a little bit. Like Wyatt mentioned Voltron. You go over to sites like Entertainment Earth, for instance, and you can punch up Voltron and find figures, deformed little action figures. They have all those pop vinyl figures that are really popular now. I would love to see some M.A.S.K stuff kind of transcend the we just have to do the G.I. Joe size, or whatever we did in the past vehicles. I want to see some cool stuff like that.
Right.
And
are those little things that have big heads?
Yeah. Do some M.A.S.K.
I don't like those.
Well,
I see this
I think you're in the minority on that one.
I saw the Ghostbusters ones, and I was like, I can't buy this. So
here's what those companies are thinking right now.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's nice. There you go.
I found my sound effects.
Yeah.
But those are popular now. Why not try a Matt Trakker and a Miles Mayhem in those pop vinyls or something like that?
No, that makes sense.
Or bobbleheads or Pez dispenser. I don't care. I would just like to see them
something with their trademark that gets out there, and so we know.
And that's popular. Those pop vinyls. I mean, there's some that's probably sit around since they first made them. I mean, there's always going to be some that are they're like, well, let's try and see how many we can sell here if there's enough fan base behind or something. They just haven't even tried that, all except for that one figure, which was part of the 25th anniversary toy line for G.I. Joe. That how big of a chance is it to make one figure? We'll take a couple more chances, you know.
Yeah,
Let's get the mass breed out there.
there's probably about 6 million crappy GI Joe figures that nobody cares about.
Well,
But
and
there's
it's
probably a lot that people do care about, and then you throw in this one figure of, and you're stripping away parts of, the whole allure of Mask. Like, you don't bring in the logo, you give Matt Trakker a weird outfit and a gun. So he doesn't need that, but whatever. His Spectrum mask can do any of that and more. So
yeah,
it was an odd representation, but I still loved it because it was something to give some sort of hope. Um,
right.
that's why I loved it. But I'm not a fan of GI Joe. I'm sorry. Um, uh, Usually the scales I collect are 6-inch scale, or I go for the superpowers or
Hmm.
things like that. But again, anything that comes out, like you were saying, if it was a napkin, I would love it. Like
Right, because we're
anything.
collectors of Mask. You know,
Right.
there's
But it
some
also
people, some GI
shows.
Joe collectors that will get anything that has GI Joe on it. I mean, there's just those kinds of collectors.
Yeah, I mean, I have an empty box that the Thunderhawks are shipped in. I have a cardboard box, and I had other ones too, and I had to downsize my collection a little bit, so I wanted to spread it around. My wife would come in. You have cardboard boxes sitting here. Yeah, but they're collectible. So, you know, but she understood. She would just give me a hard time about it, and so I downsized a little bit just to try to make a little bit more room, because I wanted to look at other collections too, and so that was part of it. But yeah, I have a cardboard box, and I have uh, what do I have? A windsock and all that weird stuff that was out. I mean, you can find it on eBay. There's playing cards, party invitations, and things
Right.
like that. Anything that you can grasp on, but something that was dated in 2015 is what I want. That's what I want.
Yeah. Well, let's I guess let's get past the toy rumors and let's talk about the story that broke yesterday.
Sure.
Um, it was on a site called Film Divider, and I don't think it's one of the quote unquote big boys when you're talking about movie review sites or whatever. Not sure if just one of the admins has maybe a inside guy or a friend or something in the film industry, and they decided to throw out this rumor on GI Joe 3, which is basically still in development. They don't have a producer, director, anything like that yet.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently they've had enough that they felt they could throw out a rumor that the villains are going to be the Zaymont and Tomax twins, the Crimson Twins, I guess you can call them, and feature Matt Trakker from M.A.S.K. And yesterday when I first saw this, I talked to Wyatt, talked to another friend of mine, and we were all like, "Whoa!" I was surprised. And then
I think our actual reaction was more along the lines of like,
nice, very nice. Yeah, we were through the roof, we'll say. And then this morning, I wanted to put something up on the blog, and this morning I woke up and I'm just going to Google and see where we're at with this with this rumor, and immediately I had like I don't know 17 or 18 news stories from the big boys like iGen, Uprocks, and
Mm-hmm.
What Culture. There's a bunch of them this morning that I know they get tens of thousands, if not millions, of hits a day. Um, and here they are running on their front page, pictures of Matt Trakker and embedding, the intro into their posts about, here's the latest rumor on G.I. Joe 3. And I don't know. To me, it was just kind of like, wow, there's there's Matt Trakker. Hello. And I don't know. What did you guys think as far as is the story as a whole just being leaked? I mean, did you immediately give some backing to it, or is this more of a, I don't know, just roll your eyes and here we go again with another rumor? Bill, what was your reaction?
Well, I didn't see it coming, even though if you think about it now, the little bit of pieces maybe have been in place for a couple of years. That they had the GI Joe figure. I don't know the timeline of the GI Joe movies, but maybe it was something that they always tried to work in, but they couldn't because maybe the rights or whatever of not having the trademarks. But seeing this, it's like I said, it's why create this rumor when it doesn't do anybody good to make a false one like about Mask. It's like I said, it's obscure. So why would they do this if it wasn't something that would actually be, if it's something that might actually be done? And my thought was, well, I don't know who these guys are, these two twins. One has a scar, looks like, whatever. But how do you go about, well, first of all, casting, and then what role is he going to play? If that's the case, if you remember the first episode, the Death Stone, they bring that woman back, and Matt says, I know people that can help, or something along those lines. Well, is he going to be some guy at his mansion, and is the Rock going to go find him because he knows M.A.S.K, or how to get in touch with M.A.S.K, and they need him to take down these twins for some reason that don't look very tough at all. Or is it going to be? Is he going to be in costume? Is he going to be just Matt Trakker, and then maybe it'll branch something off, or is it going to have more than just Matt Trakker in this? Will we see other characters? Maybe some of the villains in this, other than these guys, maybe it's Miles and Maximus. Maybe they have other sets of twins going in here.
Interesting. I never thought about that.
So like maybe they're going to try to tie in more to this than just here's Matt Trakker, he waves to the camera, and then that's it. But maybe Miles and Maximus are teaming up with these guys. Maybe these guys are running Cobra or whatever they do. And I know I'm offending a lot of G.I. Joe fans, and I apologize. I just never got into it. I'm sorry. But maybe these guys are working with them, and The Rock knows that. I know he's not called The Rock, but if he's in the movie, I'm going to call him that. Maybe he knows that.
Yeah, because he's definitely not Roadblock. Let me just tell you that.
Is he the leader of it? I mean,
I'll give you all a little history lesson here in a minute, but let's kick it over to Wyatt.
Yeah. So,
what do you think, Wyatt, about how they could introduce Trakker and then maybe bounce off of that into a solo Mask movie?
Well, you and I talked. I mean, we were actually that yabba dabba doo moment right there. We were just soaring. But I'll tell you, I was so excited to hear that. But like you, I'm like, is this just rumor? Is this just something going on? But after reading your article, seeing like 18 news stories. But the thing is, are these all copycat news stories, just fanning the flames, or is there actually something behind it? And if there is something behind it, if this is just trying to see what's going on, if we're interested, I'm all excited. I guess I'm not as level-headed here. I'm like, come on, let's rock and roll. Of course, there's the selfish side of me that says, hey, I have my hand raised over here. We got a script. Let's talk. But I honestly don't know within the G.I. Joe realm what kind of character they're going to have. I grew up with G.I. Joe like you, but I didn't. It wasn't a fan favorite. It was one of those background TV shows. You just watched in the background and you play with Transformers or something, more upscale. Uh, I don't know. I don't know what to take of it. I'm eager to see what is going on, and we actually have a question here on our Google Hangouts by Evil King. He says, I think the best scenario is this will be a Sublime within the new G.I. Joe movie line if they ever come out. Matt Trakker and G.I. Joe vehicle with M.A.S.K branding might be the extent of it. That might be what happens. We don't know what this is actually going. We don't know if he's just a kind of a 2-bit walk in, say a couple lines, and walk right back out, and that's all you see of Matt. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's too early to tell and to even fathom. But one thing is clear: they've perked up a lot of people's ears that love M.A.S.K.
Right. Where did you get that question?
Yeah, I don't see any questions.
Yeah, where did he post that?
It's actually on our Google Hangouts screen, not the one that viewers will see. It's ours. I don't know why it's ours.
I'm in ours. I don't see it.
Another one. Actually, he asked. We were actually talking about it when we posted, so I thought you.
Is it a Q&A? Q&A.
It's in Q&A.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. We're learning this as we go here. So,
so audience, please forgive us. This is completely new. Jason and I actually test bedded this thing, and we were about ready to throw both of our computers out the window at that time because it did not work whatsoever.
It's working pretty well, I think, now.
Questions. Okay.
So
who came in first?
Well, let me. They're proposing questions to us. Is that how this works?
That's what that looks like.
Okay.
So we've answered, I think, both of Evil King's questions because we were actually in the discussion on the first topic. Is there a possibility of reissues? We were actually talking about that when I saw this question pop through. So I think we answered your question, Evil King. And like your
comment. If you're satisfied, give us an okay or something there.
Yeah, just to make sure that we're on the same level. Hopefully we haven't lost you or any other listeners right now.
Yeah, if anybody else is listening there, ask away too while we're talking. And now that we have this Q&A thing up, I'll be able to, we'll be able to see it. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, it sounds like we're on the same track there.
And also too, if I can go back to a couple of things, as you were saying, Jason, you were seeing this article all over the place. The one that came out about, the movie. I remember that we had like that Toy Fair one come out. I didn't really see that kind of buzz around at all. It was randomly there, but not anything concrete. And the same with the tweet by Kenner Toys. It wasn't picked up by anything and really spread around. When it had G.I. Joe to grab onto along with Matt Trakker, then it has some traction, and like you were saying, like IGN and places like that. I don't think they would just kind of grab it and share it, unless they thought something was there.
Yeah, and it's it's mainly the quote unquote geek sites that
obviously CNN's not going to have it up there.
Right, but any little thing like this to feed the geeks out there, I think they're going to pick up on. And most of those stories were basically, using the film divider, whatever, the original story as their source, and then giving all their readers kind of a, hey, this was M.A.S.K, you remember it? And what they might do, with the movie and stuff. So
Sure.
it was good enough, like you said, it was good enough that they're going to put it out there and see what happens. And what I alluded to in our blog post today was, is this just like a ploy to see how much legs this story is going to get and how far it will reach, across the web, and will it get picked up by some, larger websites and so forth. And it looks like it has. So if it was just kind of well, let's throw out here and see if it sticks kind of a moment,
Yeah.
I think it succeeded in that at least. But as far as, I'm going to go down the movie road for a few minutes here, and the twins were part of the, I don't know, I guess you would say original G.I. Joe bad guys, and they were they had a business front. I think it was called Extensive Enterprises, and then they also were like Cobra agents or whatever. And again, I'm not the biggest G.I. Joe expert.
We do not, we're not experts on G.I. Joe. Please don't butcher any.
Right.
Don't yell at us or anything.
At the same time, they're very popular, I know, in the toy lines.
I mean, I had them, and I used to pull them in half with the little rubber band. I used to rip them apart. I know that.
Yeah, you remember them in the cartoon where, one of them gets punched and the other one feels it too, that kind of.
Yes, I remember that one.
That's the twins, yeah. So
okay.
It would make sense because, and I know you guys, I think, haven't seen the G.I. Joe movies in their, at least completely, but the first one was kind of an origin story. At the very end, we got to see Cobra Commander and Destro kind of come into their positions there and get away, And then the second movie, spoiler alert, they just kill off Duke, and all is left is Roadblock and Flint and a couple of the other characters on the G.I. Joe side, and then we get Cobra Commander and Zartan and Storm Shadow. Snake Eyes was still around. We get those people kind of taking over the country, and Zartan is the president, and it was better than the first one. And I think it's fair to say that the G.I. Joe fans don't recognize those movies as G.I. Joe. It's more of a action movie with G.I. Joe character names in there, you know what I mean? So it's not like they were wowed or this was the start of something great, we're going to have G.I. Joe on the big screen. But they were good enough to, make a profit at least. I was pulling up Box Office Mojo here to see how they did. I think they both were around a $200 million budget, and they cleared, let's see, the Rise of Cobra, $175 million budget.
Was that the first one?
That's the first one.
Okay.
It didn't even clear its budget domestically, but foreign, it made 150 domestically and another 150 foreign, so it had 300 worldwide. So technically, it turned a profit.
Yeah.
And then let's see what the second one is going to be, and I'm pretty sure it did a lot better. There was a little bit of buzz about it because they delayed the release of it. The budget for the second one was $130 million. It made $122 domestic and $250 foreign, so $375 million. It doubled up its budget on that one. So they're profitable movies, but they're not blowing away the people that need to be blown away here, in the States, kind of where they were the most popular. And my take as far as introducing, Matt Trakker, I see it going down this way. I see it where he is one of the, I guess, regular Joes, you would say, and kind of makes a name for himself. And then from there, from this movie or whatever, then we get him starting Mask down the road, and maybe a spin-off movie if it's that character's popular enough. Of course, this is the third, and usually they're doing trilogies unless you're Transformers and you can do whatever the heck you want. But
Or Star Wars.
yeah,
Or Lord of the Rings.
I don't know. I just don't see. It's hard for me to see G.I. Joe making more than 3 movies, and I guess if they're profitable, it's always possible. I mean, again, they're waiting to hear those dollar signs, and it could be just they make the third one and they're pinning their hopes on Matt Trakker to go off from there, which I think is good. The more I think about it, it's just like the toys. Are you gonna do a full-on vehicle and figure sets and try to recreate everything, or are you going to introduce a few figures at a time? I think they're going to go small first, so why not introduce them in one movie before you commit to a full-on Mask movie?
I just had another thought too when you're done.
Go ahead.
So let's say that in this movie, Matt Trakker and his friend Miles Mayhem are working on something for G.I. Joe, and Miles Mayhem ends up stealing it. So
there you go.
they could introduce. I just had a thought. I was thinking like how else they could put it in there. Maybe they're working on this, these specialized weapons, which are the masks and the vehicles for the Joes after everything goes all awry. And maybe it breaks off that way. I mean, that could work. But
that's a really good idea. Let me tell you. So if if somebody's listening to this now or later when we release it as a podcast, that's the way you go.
Patent pending.
That fits right into the the origin in the comic books though, where it
and it could work.
And Matt's brother dies and. That's how you do it. That's
obviously
great.
You don't need to have his brother there. I mean, because nobody really knows about him. But
yeah,
I mean, obviously, if you want to put him in there, hey, there's Matt's brother. Oh, he's dead. You know. But yeah, there's Miles Mayhem running away with the Viper mask, and I mean that could be a side story to the Joe movie, and then start becoming the focus, and it breaks away and. Does it that way if they want to stay true to origins, or he can just be sitting at a desk, waving people into be a receptionist. Who knows? Or it could be flipping burgers. I don't know. I mean, it could be anything.
Right.
So, but
we got a couple more questions. Let's go ahead and let's answer them from Mr. Evil King. He was wondering about the possibility of 100% straight-up reissues of the old toys. What do you guys think about that?
I honestly don't know if there's 100% accurate that they're going to reissue them, but I don't doubt that they're going to try. I would say it's probably more of a 75% endeavor that's probably in the wake of it, but I don't know. We can't confirm it at this point.
What do you think about the size, though, and being that smaller size? Do you think they would be more inclined to keep that and maybe tap into the nostalgia factor, or go with the bigger, like G.I. Joe size or even 6-inch size? What do you think about that, Bill?
Going back to earlier, if they're going to do it, they use if they're going to reissue the old ones, you do same box art. You honor Lance Anderson by doing that, and then put the 30th logo. Put some kind of 30th anniversary logo on there, and you start with Thunderhawk, Gator, Piranha. The first series that everybody had in America, at least. As we all know. We kind of stopped after the racing series, but then Europe and all that area got split seconds, and more so than we did. We was here, but we just kind of never got them. I guess our parents didn't like us anymore or something. But I would love a straight reissue of a 30th anniversary Thunderhawk. Obviously, you get the longer mask on there, so we don't choke on it. And you just go from there on. Obviously, I don't know if they have if they can do the same box innards. I don't know if they have all the.
Well, see, that's my thing.
On that.
How do you? Is it easier? And I'm no toy company, expert or anything, but is it easier to use something you might have stored away? The plans and they would have like molds or something still or whatever to make the original toys, or just start fresh, or maybe use something similar like G.I. Joe designs or something. I don't know if it would be easier or not.
I think if you're going to reissue, I think you would probably try at least to use the old ones if you still have them. I'm sure they do.
I would do. It makes sense on the cost.
I don't know.
What'd you say, Wyatt?
I said if I were in the business world, if I still had the molds hanging around, I would do my best to just reuse that same mold. Why go out and make a whole new mold to make it similar when you have the old mold sitting in the back room back there? I would rather do that. I'd be more cost effective. You could tweak stickers and stuff to artwork on it at your leisure, but the main plastic body, I would say just go with it and see what happens as a reissue. I wouldn't go messing around with it, but the business world is, they might surprise us and reissue, do a 30th surprise, and give us modern cars. We might see the latest Camaro as a Thunderhawk. Who knows what we would see for a Switchblade?
Maybe that would be in the movie.
What would Boulder Hill be?
Oh, don't get us started on that.
It would go out to the highest oil company bidder,
Yeah, and the gas sign will have $5 for regular on it or something like that.
Well, not anymore, but
no, it'd be $4.90 if you're paying cash.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, just to answer the question, I'm more along the lines, and it sounds like you guys are, that if they do straight up reissues, they'll probably start with 1 or 2 or 3 vehicles and build from there. I can't see them releasing, like a full wave, like the first series of toys. I can see them doing a Thunderhawk and a Switchblade and maybe a Condor, some of the smaller ones too. And maybe half a dozen at most to start, but I don't think they're gonna commit to a straight up reissue.
No, I agree with that. That's the same sentiment. And something else that I do collect, I collect a lot of Batman in the animated series, and lately DC has been reissuing slowly in a 6-inch scale the original toys, like from the show, and that was in 1994 when that line came out. So they're doing a 6-inch scale, and they're trying to stay true to the form of both the original animated series and then the one they got later, where it was all more straight line. And they're releasing it very slowly. And like they first started with Batman and then Catwoman. So they went to the ones that they know people are going to gravitate for, and then Joker's coming out soon, and Robin. Obviously, they're not going to put the Clock King as one of their first ones. If you get that reference, you're obviously very knowledgeable. But if you stick to the ones that you know and the ones that people do know, obviously Batman's a different thing, but if you do it right, it's going to work. If as long as you do it right by doing the things that are key, I think that's the right way to do it, and I think it would work. No matter if it's the regular scale, if it's G.I. Joe scale, if it's 6-inch, if they want to make 25-foot tall ones, as long as you make it work, it'll work.
Yeah, it's in the details. They got to have the details right. But you
Yeah,
know, what came to mind was the Matty Collector,
yeah,
Masters of the Universe line, which is
yeah.
huge. They're
There, yeah.
they're a take on the classics. They're obviously just a little bit, updated, different a little bit, but they're getting the accessories and the little details of each character correct. And they started out, I think, probably with the popular characters, and now they're up to like Stink Ore and Moss Man,
I
and
have Moss
they're
Man, by the way.
down the line. But uh, I could see them doing something like that. Obviously, not through Matty Collector, which is Mattel, but um, I could see them trying to release like a 6-inch or something and do a few of the characters to start and see where it goes from there. And then this was interesting. This next little question we got, because as Wyatt knows, I got sucked into the GI Joe Creo
Yes, you
toy
did.
line pretty hardcore, and I was be late because of my toy collecting budget, and seeing seeing stuff on clearance at Toys R Us. I'm like, oh yeah, let me do this, and then just kind of snowballs from there. But we've seen over, I think it's on Flickr. Um, what's the guy's name? Orion Pax, something like that, that
Yes.
does the Mask Lego and has
Yeah.
built all those custom
Yes.
Legos. And Creo, for those who don't know, that's basically a Lego type of building, franchise, and they have the minifigures, and actually they're a lot more posable than just the regular Lego minifigures I've found. But
Yeah,
anyway,
the Walking Dead too, right?
yeah, I mean
Yeah,
they
I
have
think so.
Transformers. I've gotten a couple of Transformers for my boys that actually you can build the robot, or you can build the vehicle, or the whatever the other part of the Transformer is, which is pretty cool. But what do you think about that as far as going the Lego route?
I don't see why they wouldn't. If they're looking at, if they go through and actually do the research, I think they'd have a very viable toy line there just with the Creo itself. And I think Hasbro seems to either market or have some kind of hand in Creo because a lot of their products are
They do.
Creo, are not
Hmm.
Lego. So I have no reason, I wouldn't doubt that they wouldn't churn something out for for that toy set. Now, when is a whole other story. I don't know that they would have it debut at this toy fair coming up. Uh, However, they might surprise us with, even if it's as simple as Condor, which seems to be the starter in many people's collection because it was inexpensive. Uh, it might be something there that we see that gets brought to our attention.
Yeah, I'm looking at them now. I mean, I'm kind of familiar with them, and looking at them, they have bases and vehicles. So yeah, I can see that definitely. You can get the little bit of detail in there. Yeah, obviously the Creo line would be a way to introduce them. Definitely, and you can do Boulder Hill that way too.
Uh, yeah, that would be
Oh, I know.
great.
Yeah, it probably costs a lot of money too, but yeah,
Well, I can tell you that the Terradrome in that collection is near $100. So yeah, it's not cheap, and
yeah. I'm looking
Lego's
at a
the same
picture of it
way.
right now.
If you look at the Lego Star Wars collection, and the Millennium Falcon and all the bigger sets there, they're up near $100. But like like I was saying before about just branching out, letting the brand and the franchise kind of grow on its own, and giving that license over to a company like Creo or Lego, or to Funko with these pop vinyl figures.
Hmm?
I, I don't understand why they're not doing that, and at least making some money off of this trademark, this brand that they have, you know, under license. I just don't see why they haven't done that over the last 10 years, or I guess it's been longer since the Kenner went out, but it just, I don't know. It's weird that they haven't really done that, and it's maybe we'll take
There's something screwy around here.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Take a 30th anniversary to do something like that. But well, any other thoughts from you guys?
Well, to go around with all the other rumors, I have reached out to Hasbro's PR marketing department. I haven't gotten a response yet. That was about a week ago. Basically, just stating that who I am, what I feel like I've done over the past long time, and I started out by saying, I know that you owe me nothing, and you can not answer me, and it's okay. I just wanted to help in any way I could if you're looking for outside help to get this started. Like, here's my website. Use it as a portal to do whatever you want. Just basically just trying to see if the hope is there. And I said, obviously, if they're not going to respond to me, it's fine. They said obviously they owe me nothing and they don't have to respond to me. But the simple fact is that, I wasn't asking anything like, hey, I want to buy this, or I want to get in on this. Let me do whatever. I just want to be some sort of vessel, like I was for the DVD sets that came out. I tried to help promote them, and we did little excerpts for each one and help kind of get some of the writers to be involved. And that's kind of like what I want to do this way if Hasbro needs it, and I'm sure anybody else with the knowledge that we have of some of the inner, the back end of M.A.S.K. Would be able, would be a great asset if they were looking. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. But I know I'm available if they need it, and I'm sure you guys would be too. So obviously Hasbro knows what they're doing, but obviously they don't because they haven't put anything out yet. But but like I said, there's resources, and there's a following, and there's a whole other market of children that would love to see something come out that they can call their own and not, play with their dad's or their uncle's old toys, even though they love them, but they're not theirs. They're still ours. So, so yeah, hopefully it works out, and hopefully they want to do that. If not,
something they don't have to ask permission to play with.
Well, yeah. So, and hopefully in the end, all the time that I've put in, and BoulderHill.net and M.A.S.K Comics and you guys, obviously, with your script, but you've also turned your website into a media hub for M.A.S.K as well.
Right.
And Albert, guys like Albert Pinello, who was the first website I knew of. He doesn't really maintain it that much anymore, but he started M.A.S.K on the internet, I believe, and going from there on, I just hope that anybody that's put time into to convey this and to really try to keep it alive and keep it in in the hearts and the minds of everybody. I hope it pays off for everybody in the end, and we get something, and get something new out of it.
I definitely agree. Anything at this point official would just send me into a frenzy. And I know a lot of fans out there as well, even if it's just confirming we're going to get something.
Yeah, even just a little thing like that. Yeah, that's going to happen. There you go.
When that happens, then we can rejoice, and the true speculation can begin.
Yeah.
I would love to see that, and I'm glad you're reaching out to them, and hopefully they will, reach out to us. I don't mean just our site and your site, but everybody that's kind of in the community. We wanted to have Eric on tonight from BoulderHill.net. He couldn't make it, but we're hoping that maybe we'll continue this MASKast Chat, in the future as these rumors come out, and as we, as M.A.S.K fans, just want to talk about it and speculate and do the fun stuff that we do when rumors come out like this. And M.A.S.K, like I've said before, it's not in the height of G.I. Joe and Transformers and Masters of the Universe, those kind of franchises, but there's still a pretty good following, as you can tell from our Facebook pages and everything, and Twitter followers, and the amount of shares and comments we're getting when we're releasing stories like we've heard in the last couple of days. So there's people there, and you can make them very happy, Hasbro, if you just would say the word at the toy fair later this month. So we'll keep this forum kind of open and unscheduled, and we'll try to release little things like this maybe between our regular podcasts and give the fans a chance to ask questions, interact, and fun. We've had, I think, at least one one listener the whole time, and we appreciate him and or her.
I still couldn't tell who we had.
The evil
listening.
king. I'm not sure if I guess a king would indicate a male, but appreciate.
Well, actually, we've had two listeners. There's Evil King and Johnny C.
Okay, good. Well, we appreciate you both for tuning into this first chat, and hopefully
maybe next time we have to do it a little. We have to give them a little more advanced warning.
Well, this is kind of the beta edition.
yeah, definitely.
Checking out all the features and stuff on Google Hangout, which is really cool. A lot more stuff here than just going on Skype and recording and throwing up a podcast a couple of days later. But this will be fun way to just get the M.A.S.K admins together, and then also get the voice of the fans as well. So I guess we'll stop it here for our chat broadcast. We again appreciate everybody coming on, and if you're listening this not live and in podcast form later down the road, just keep on our Facebook, Twitter, and website, and we'll try to give you some notice beforehand. You can plan to join us, just listen in or interact and submit a question and all that good stuff. So, Bill, thanks for taking the time.
You got it.
And Wyatt, thanks for being here as well.
Thank you, and I'm hoping that we can do another one of these like you indicated.
Listen to you.
Yeah, I got the outro already started. I mean, I'm still hyped. I don't care if this is fact or fiction. I want to jam it here.
Go for it. I know we can do some fun stuff like YouTube videos and watch stuff. So, how fun would it be to review an episode like this while we're like watching it on the fly?
I think you can.
Awesome.
We'll have to try that maybe in the future. But,
I'm probably going to use this for a couple things. I have some ideas here, so cool. I like this environment, and I'll join in anytime you guys need me.
All right, well, this is Jason. We're going to sign off for now on the MASKast Chat. We appreciate you tuning in, and we hope to talk to you soon.
See ya.
Always riding hard on Venom's trail. Come see the laser rays. Fire away.
Nice.